Louis Armstrong was the first African American trumpeter, composer, and singer who was one of the most influential figures in jazz. Louis Armstrong was born on August 4, 1901 in New Orleans, Louisiana, in a section so poor that it was nicknamed the battlefield. Armstrong had a difficult childhood. His father was a factory worker and abandoned the family soon after Louis's birth. His mother, who often turned to prostitution, frequently left him for his grandmother. Louis was forced to leave school in the 5th grade to begin working. A Jewish family gave young Louis a job collecting junk and delivering coal. They also encouraged him to sing and often invited him into their home for meals. On New Year's Eve in 1912, Armstrong fired his stepfather's gun into the air during the New Year's Eve celebration and was arrested on the spot. He was sent to the Colored Wives' Home for Boys. There, he received musical instructions on the cornet, trumpet, and fell in love with music. In 1914, the home released him, and he immediately began earning a reputation as a fine blues player, one of the greatest cornet players in town. Joe King Oliver began acting as a mentor to the young Armstrong, showing him pointers on the horn and occasionally singing to him as a sub. By the end of his teens, Armstrong had grown up fast. In 1918, he married Daisy Parker, a prostitute. Commencing a stormy union marked by many arguments and acts of violence during this time, Armstrong adopted a 3-year-old boy named Clarence. The boy's mother, Armstrong's cousin, had died in childbirth. Clarence, who had become mentally disabled from a head injury, had suffered at an early age, was taken care of by Armstrong his entire life. Meanwhile, Armstrong's reputation as a musician grew. In 1918, he replaced Oliver and the Kid Ory's band, then the most popular band in New Orleans.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, here's one you all can sing with us. When the Saints Go Marching In.
He was soon able to stop working manual labor jobs and begin concentration full-time on his cornet, playing parties, dances, funeral marches, and local honky-tonks, a name for small bars that typically host music acts. Beginning in 1919, Armstrong spent his summers playing on riverboats, where he honed his music reading skills and eventually had his first encounters with other jazz legends, including Bix Beiderbecke and Jack Teagarden. His career spanned over 5 decades, from the 1920s to the 1960s, and different eras of jazz. He came to prominence in the 1920s, influenced countless musicians with both his daring trumpet style and unique vocals. Armstrong's charismatic stage presence impressed not only the jazz world, but all the popular music. He recorded several songs throughout his career, including songs like Stardust, La Vie en Rose, and What a Wonderful World. Due his popularity was hitting new heights in 1950s, and despite breaking down so many barriers for his race and being a hero to the African American community for so many years, the struggle for civil was growing tense with each passing year. With more protests, marches, and speeches from African Americans equally wanting rights, to many young jazz listeners at the time, young Armstrong's ever-smiling demeanor seemed like it was from a bygone era, and the trumpeters refused to comment on politics for many years, only further perceptions that he was out of touch. In 1968, Armstrong's grueling lifestyle had caught up with him. Heart and kidney problems forced him to stop performing in 1969. That same year, his longtime manager, Joe Glazer, passed away. Armstrong spent much of his year at that home. He managed to continue practicing the trumpet daily. By the summer of 1970, he was allowed to perform publicly again and play the trumpet. After successful engagement in Las Vegas, he began taking encouragements around the world. However, a heart attack 2 days after Waldorf gig sidelined him for 2 months. Armstrong returned home in May 1971, and though he soon resumed playing again and promised to perform in public once more, he died in his sleep on July 6, 1971, at his own home in Queens, New York, before he ever got to.
A beautiful audience out there swinging with us. On behalf of Jewel Brown, Billy Kyle, Joe Daringsburg, Summer Young, Billy Crunk, Danny Barcelona, little Filipino boy on the drums, little Arabian boy saxophone. We are very happy to have swung this number for you folks. It's cutting out time now. Before we cut out from here, let's take them saints on down one more time. Now I win the saints. Whoa, boy. When the saints yes, I found in that number. Hit it when you say